So, have you ever had a brilliant idea, something you're convinced the world absolutely needs? But then that little voice pops up, whispering, what if no one actually wants it? That fear that you'll spend all this time, maybe even your savings, building something, and it just, well, sits there. No audience.
Oh, yeah. It's a really common trap and honestly, often fatal for solo entrepreneurs. So many new ventures fail. And it's not usually because they built it badly. It's because they solved a problem nobody really had or, maybe nobody was willing to pay to fix.
Right. Well, today's deep dive is all about tackling that doubt head on. We're looking at how to de-risk your venture, especially if you're flying solo, short on time, and working with, well, basically zero budget. We're going to explore some really powerful, lean, and super cost-effective ways to validate your product or service idea, and the best part, using only free web resources.
Exactly. Our mission today is really to show you how to gather solid data, how to pinpoint those critical pain points people have, understand who else is out there, your competitors, and do all of this without opening your wallet. This means you can make smart, data-driven decisions right from the start. Optimize everything.
Yeah, make every hour count. And we've got a fantastic stack of sources for this, everything from reports on lean validation methods to detailed looks at specific tools like Google Keyword Planner, Reddit, even Google Maps. So get ready to turn those assumptions you have into actual evidence-backed opportunities.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Why is idea validation not just like a nice-to-have, but absolutely essential for a solo entrepreneur? Well, think about it. As a solo founder, your time is probably your most precious asset, right? Along with whatever limited funds you have. Committing those invaluable resources to an idea you haven't checked out, that's a huge risk, a critical vulnerability. Validation basically stops you from wasting all that effort, stops you spending money on something nobody needs. But it's more than just money. It's about conserving your time and, crucially, your motivation. For a solo founder, that drive is everything.
Absolutely. Avoiding burnout and that feeling of just spinning your wheels.
Oh.
But let's get specific. What exactly is product or service idea validation? And how is it different from, say, a proof of concept or a prototype? Or even an MVP, a minimum viable product? People throw these terms around.
Good question. Yeah, they do get mixed up. So product validation is really a type of market research. It's specifically designed to test new product or service ideas within a market you've already identified. The main goal: figure out the likelihood of success before you commit serious resources. So you're evaluating the core idea. Is it feasible? Is it usable? Does it actually meet a need out there? And it's really important to see how it differs from those other stages, a proof of concept, a post-ET. That's usually a quick, maybe internal test. It just asks, can we technically build this thing? Is the technology feasible? A prototype. That's more about visualizing the design, the user flow. Often it's just a mock-up, doesn't actually work. And then the MVP, the minimum viable product, that's the first functional version, even if it's super basic. It has the core features, and you put it out there to test market demand with real customers. It answers, should we build this? But for a solo entrepreneur using free web data, like we're talking about today, the focus is overwhelmingly on that first step, idea validation, understanding the problem, the audience, the demand, the market fit.
All before you really build anything substantial.
Okay, that clarifies things a lot. So focusing on that initial validation, what are the key questions a solo entrepreneur absolutely has to answer before they really dive into development?
Right. Think of these as your foundational checks. You need to nail down first. What specific problem does this thing actually solve? What pain point? What need? What desire does it hit directly? Second, who exactly is your target audience? Be precise. And what assumptions are you making about them that you need to test? Third, is there real demand, like a genuine desire? Are enough people willing to potentially pay for this? Fourth, what makes your idea different? What are its unique features or benefits compared to what exists? Your unique selling proposition. Fifth, how big is this market, realistically? And what slice of that pie could you actually capture? And finally, are there any major roadblocks, big barriers to entry that could just stop you in your tracks? Answering these questions gives you a solid framework, a roadmap for the whole validation process.
Makes sense. So stage one then, before you start actively bugging people, you can do a lot of listening, right? Tell us about this foundational research phase, using all those free online resources that are just sitting there.
Absolutely. This phase is all about listening to the market before you jump in. Search engines are, well, an obvious goldmine. Take Google Trends. It's free, and it does more than just show search volume for, say, your product name. You can use it to find problems. Maybe searching for your specific widget shows low volume. But searching for a problem like best mattress for lower back pain sufferers shows 240 searches a month. That signals an unmet need. It shifts your focus from, do they want my product, to, is this a real problem people are trying to solve? That's key.
That's a smart way to use it. What about digging into, like, academic research? Is that realistic for a solo founder?
Totally realistic. Google Scholar is your friend here. It's a huge database of academic papers, theses, abstracts. You can search for your problem area or your proposed solution type. See if it's already been studied extensively. Why is this useful? Well, it helps you find gaps. Or maybe you find research that supports your idea's feasibility. It can even uncover existing patents or similar approaches. It's like getting a free mini technical review before you even start.
Okay, interesting. Now, social media, everyone knows it's huge for audiences, but how do you use it for validation specifically without just getting lost in the noise?
Right, it's easy to get overwhelmed. For general social listening, find where your ideal customers hang out online. Facebook groups, X communities, LinkedIn groups maybe. Just lurk. Observe the conversations, the questions people ask, the links they share. But here's a deeper tip. Look for the posts that spark the most discussion, even if it's not a direct complaint. If a post about a particular struggle or even an aspiration gets tons of comments back and forth, that signals a really strong underlying need or desire. That's validation gold. And for checking out competitors, don't just look at their shiny marketing. Dig for the dirt. Actively look for what they don't do well. Where do their customers complain? Analyze those negative comments on their posts, bad reviews. You'll find specific gaps, things they aren't addressing, and that can directly point you towards your unique value proposition.
I keep hearing that Reddit is especially good for finding problems.
Yeah.
It makes it so powerful.
Reddit is fantastic, yeah. Mainly because of its structure. All the super specific niche communities, the subreddits, and the way content gets voted up or down. It's user-filtered relevance. The core tactic is simply reading. Go into relevant subreddits and read the posts, the comments. Look specifically for people venting frustrations, describing problems, making wish lists. You can even do targeted searches within subreddits for words like problem, struggle, annoying, wish, frustrated, difficult, need, maybe missing feature. It surfaces the pain points directly. And here's something really interesting about Reddit. The voting system often brings the hypercritical customers to the top. These are the really opinionated folks, the ones with super specific needs and high expectations. For a solo entrepreneur, listening to these HXC customers gives you incredibly valuable, critical feedback. They point right at where things could be better, where innovation is needed. It's like getting free high-level consulting.
Wow, okay. So Reddit for the nitty-gritty problems. What about the bigger picture? Industry trends, common issues across a whole sector.
That's where news articles and industry publications come in handy. They give you that broader context. Immediate demand is vital, sure, but trends give you a peek into the future. As a solo founder, if you can align your idea with an emerging trend like, say, AI advancements or the big shift to remote work, your idea has much better long-term legs. Also, look for articles discussing systemic challenges, common criticisms faced by an entire industry. Identifying these big industry pain points can reveal significant white space areas where maybe no one is innovating effectively. It pushes you to think bigger than just your direct competitors.
And public reviews, like Yelp or G2, where do they fit?
They're a direct line to customer voice, especially the negative reviews of products similar to yours. Don't just read one bad review, though. Look for patterns. Look at the frequency of specific complaints. If, say, 30% of the negative reviews for a competitor all mention the same missing feature, the same usability nightmare, that's a really strong signal. It suggests a widespread, unaddressed pain point. Basically, a statistically significant opportunity knocking.
Okay, last piece of this foundational phase, the numbers. Market size, demographics. Where can a solo founder get reliable data like that for free?
Government and open data portals are often overlooked. Things like the U.S. Census Bureau, data.gov, or similar sites in other countries, they offer tons of free demographic and economic data. This helps you estimate your market size, understand who your customers are, and crucially, it helps assess scalability. If your target audience turns out to be tiny, even the best product might not be viable as a business. And the really powerful thing connecting all these different free sources is this idea of triangulation. Just relying on one source, like only Google Trends, can be misleading. It might be a blip. But if you confirm a hypothesis from multiple independent angles, like Google Trends shows rising interest and Reddit threads are full of complaints about the problem and competitor reviews mention the same gap, that combined evidence is way, way more robust. That's how you get reliable validation without spending money.
Okay, so you've done all that listening, that foundational research. Now what? How do you start actually proactively engaging with potential users but still keeping it lean?
Right, now you move from passive listening to active engagement. And customer interviews are probably the most valuable technique here.
Yeah.
How do you find people for free? Leverage those online communities again, social media groups, relevant subreddits. Post something non-promotional. Be upfront. Say you're researching a specific problem people face and you'd love to chat for 15 minutes. Don't pick your solution yet. Focus on understanding their experience with the problem.
And when you actually get someone on a call or maybe a video chat, how do you ask questions that get you the good stuff?
The key is open-ended questions. You want stories, not just yes-no answers. Focus on their past experiences and current behaviors related to the problem. Ask about past behavior, not what they think they might do in the future. What people say they'll do is way less reliable than what they've actually done. And listen really closely for descriptions of workarounds or hacks. When people tell you how they jury-rig solutions using spreadsheets or sticky notes or just tolerating a clunky manual process, that's a huge signal. It shows the pain point is real and they're actively, if imperfectly, trying to solve it. That means they likely want a better solution.
Makes sense. Focus on the past and the workarounds. What about surveys? Can they be useful for broader feedback on a budget?
Definitely. Surveys are efficient. You can use free tools like SurveyMonkey's free plan or Google Forms. Distribute the link in those same online communities, or if you have an email list, use that. But here's a neat side benefit for a solo founder. Distributing a survey also acts as a kind of soft test for early adopters. Pay attention to who not only fills it out, but gives really thoughtful, detailed answers or expresses real enthusiasm in the open-ended questions. Those people, they might be your first beta testers. Keep a list.
Ah, that's clever. Building a little pre-launch list. And finally, what about getting feedback directly within those online communities, like Reddit?
Yeah, active participation is key. But you can't just parachute in and start asking questions about your idea. You need to build a little credibility first. Be helpful. Answer other people's questions, become a known member of the community. Then you can start asking more targeted questions related to the problem space. But also, just observe which posts get the most upvotes, shares, comments. While direct questions give you explicit answers, watching what kind of content naturally resonates or even goes viral in that community gives you implicit validation. If a story about struggling with X or a news piece about problem Y consistently gets huge engagement, that tells you it's a deep, shared pain point. It's like social proof for the problem itself.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We've covered a lot of ground with free resources and methods. Let's really dive deep into some specific tools and actionable tactics. How about Google Keyword Planner? That sounds like it could directly tell you about demand right?
Absolutely. Google Keyword Planner is incredibly powerful for lean validation, and yes, it's free to use within Google Ads. You don't actually need to run an ad campaign. The core idea is treating search queries as direct signals of what people need, what they intend to do, and what problems they have. It's a way to quantify market demand. So when you're using it, you're mainly looking at 3 key numbers for relevant keywords. First, average monthly searches. This is your basic demand checks. Is it 10 searches a month? Or 10,000. That gives you a sense of scale. Second, competition. It's listed as low, medium, or high. This tells you how many other advertisers are bidding on that keyword. Now, counterintuitively, medium or high competition is actually a good sign for validation. It means other businesses have already figured out that traffic for this keyword is valuable. It converts. People searching this buy things. Third, and this is often overlooked, top-of-page bid. It gives you a low and high range estimate of what advertisers are paying per click. Why does this matter? High bids, say over $3, $5, even $10 or more sometimes, strongly suggest that the customer lifetime value for that keyword is high. It means the product or service being sold is probably high margin, or it converts really well. This is huge validation for the profitability potential of your idea.
Wow. So if you find keywords related to your idea with decent search volume, medium or high competition, and high bids, that's basically a green light. But what's a common mistake someone might make here, just looking at one metric?
It's exactly that combo: decent volume, high competition, high bids. That's your green light. Proceed with confidence. A huge mistake is focusing only on search volume. Someone might see low volume and give up. But maybe it's a super valuable niche. Small audience, but high intent, willing to pay, indicated by those high bids and competition. That can be way better than a huge volume of vague searches. Or the opposite, seeing high volume for a really generic term that doesn't actually signal buying intent. You need to look for a cluster of related keywords that together tell a story about a specific problem or need. Low volume across the board, or low bids everywhere. That's maybe a yellow light. Means you need more qualitative digging. Very low volume for everything relevant. Probably a red light, time to rethink or pivot. And don't forget to look for those long-tail keywords, very specific phrases, and especially question-based keywords like, how do I fix X? Or best software for Y. They directly validate problem awareness.
That nuance is critical. Okay, let's switch gears. Google Maps. How can that help validate something like a local service or maybe a physical product idea?
Google Maps is so much more than directions. It's basically a free, dynamic, visual database of local economies and demographics, hugely underutilized for validation. For a big picture, macro-level view, just search for keywords related to your idea in a specific area. Vegan bakery, mobile car detailer, whatever it is. Look at the map. How many competitors pop up? Where are they clustered? Are there big residential areas with no competitors? We call those service deserts. Potential opportunity. Conversely, look for service oases. Search for businesses that serve your target customer but aren't direct competitors. Like, if you have a high-end baby product idea, search for premium daycare centers or organic grocery stores. Where do they cluster? That's likely where your target demographic lives or shops. It's like a proxy indicator.
It really is like painting a picture of the market on a map. That's brilliant.
And zooming in, the micro level, you mentioned reviews earlier.
Exactly. At the micro level, the reviews on Google Maps business profiles are absolute gold. Systematically go through the 1, 2, and 3-star reviews of your direct competitors in the area, and pay attention to the why. What's the underlying job to be done that the customer was trying to achieve, but the business failed at? Remember that coffee shop example, the 2-star review. Coffee's good, but no outlets, slow Wi-Fi. The job wasn't just get coffee, it was find a productive place to work for an hour. The coffee shop failed that job. Look for those phrases. I wish they offered. The only downside was, if only they had. Direct pointers to unmet needs. And check the Q&A section on profiles too. People ask direct questions showing interest or confusion. Now here's a really sneaky proactive tactic. The Wizard of Oz MVP using just Google Maps. If your idea is a service you could theoretically run from home, you can actually create a Google business profile for your not yet launched business. Use your home address if allowed, or a virtual address. Set the hours to appointment only so people don't just show up. Then just monitor the free performance dashboard Google gives you for that profile. People calling the number, requesting directions, even if just to your general area. Clicking the link to your simple landing page. This is measuring real-world local intent before you've built almost anything. It's incredibly lean.
That is genuinely clever. So putting it all together, Keyword Planner for demand and profitability signals, Google Maps for local competition and unmet needs. How do these tools fit into the bigger picture for a solo founder? What's the main takeaway?
The biggest takeaway is that these tools, Google, Keyword Planner, Maps, Reddit, Scholar, Trends, even just basic search and review sites, they completely democratize market research. They let a solo entrepreneur with zero budget shift from pure guesswork to systematically listening to what the market is already saying, doing, and searching for. You get access to this incredible, cost-effective intelligence. It means you can step into the ring not based on a whim, but armed with a deep understanding. You know the problems, you know the players, you even know the language your potential customers use, honestly. It levels the playing field against bigger companies. It rewards curiosity and smart analysis over just having a big budget.
Okay, so you've done the work, you've used these tools, maybe done some interviews, collected all this data. Now what? How do you actually synthesize all these different bits of information and make a decision?
Right, the analysis stage. This is crucial. For the qualitative stuff, interview notes, Reddit comments, you need to look for patterns. Recurring themes, common words or phrases, strong emotions being expressed. For the quantitative data survey results, Google Trends graphs, Keyword Planner numbers, use simple spreadsheets. Tally things up, look for numerical patterns, maybe make some basic charts. But the most important step is cross-referencing. Connect the dots between different sources. Does a problem you heard about in interviews also show up as a high-volume keyword search? Do Reddit complaints echo the negative reviews you found on Google Maps? That triangulation we talked about. Finding the same signal from multiple independent sources is what gives you confidence in your findings, especially when you don't have fancy paid research tools.
Okay, cross-referencing is key. And then comes the hard part, deciding whether to push forward, pivot, or maybe even kill the idea. That sounds incredibly tough, especially after investing even just time and emotional energy. How do you make that call objectively?
It is tough, emotionally. No doubt about it. But you have to be objective here. You have to be honest about what the data is telling you. If you're seeing major red flags, huge barriers, consistent negative feedback, lack of any real demand signals across multiple sources, that's the moment to hit pause. Maybe stop development altogether. Look, Perseverance is great, but pushing forward with an idea the market is clearly rejecting. For a solo founder, that's a fast track to burnout and failure. Failing fast and cheap, based on this early validation, that's not really failure. It's a success in resource management. Killing an idea based on free early data is actually a strategic victory. It frees you up to find the idea that will work.
That's a really healthy way to frame it, a strategic victory, not a defeat. So this validation thing, it's not just something you do once at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely not. It's continuous. Product development is always iterative, right? You need to keep collecting feedback, keep listening, keep measuring, so you can constantly refine the idea, improve the product or service. The insights you get from ongoing validation, from analytics, once you launch something, you feed that right back into the next iteration. And here's where a solo entrepreneur actually have an advantage over big companies. Your feedback loop can be incredibly short and agile. You can collect data, often for free, analyze it quickly, and make changes much faster than a large bureaucratic organization. That agility is a huge competitive edge.
So harness that agility. What are some final practical tips for making these bootstrapped validation efforts as efficient and reliable as possible?
Okay, few key things. 1, focus tightly. Don't try to validate with everyone. Pick very specific, narrow audience segments. You'll get much clearer, more actionable feedback. 2, prioritize your assumptions. Before you start, list the biggest leaps of faith your idea relies on. Then design specific, small tests just for those critical assumptions. 3, document everything. Keep good records, interview notes, survey results, links to interesting Reddit threads. Simple spreadsheets or free tools like Notion or Evernote work fine. Systematically track insights. 4, manage your time. Validation isn't a side task. Block out dedicated time for it. Treat it like a core business function, because it is. Break it into small, manageable chunks. And maybe the most important one, 5, embrace minimum viable validation. Your goal isn't perfect, exhaustive market research. It's gathering just enough information from just enough sources to make the next informed decision. Get enough data to decide, do I proceed? Do I pivot slightly? Do I need to test this other assumption now? This avoids getting stuck in analysis paralysis, which is a real danger for solo founders.
Minimum viable validation. I like that. Pragmatic. So stepping back, what really stands out to you about just how powerful and accessible these free web tools are for solo entrepreneurs today? It's kind of amazing.
It really is amazing. The power to effectively and efficiently validate an idea is literally at every solo entrepreneur's fingertips now.
Yeah.
For free. This whole bootstrapped approach dramatically reduces the financial risk, yes, but also the risk of wasting precious time. And it forces you in a good way to build a deep, real connection with your potential audience right from day one. At the end of the day, it's all about making sure you're building something that solves a genuine problem for a real group of people, meeting a true market need.
A powerful message to end on. That's all the time we have for this deep dive into lean, cost-effective idea validation using free resources. Thanks so much for walking us through it.
My pleasure. And just remember, the journey to a successful product often starts not with writing code, but with writing a really smart search query.
Great final thought. Until next time, keep digging deeper.